Agile means exactly what the word describes. It means the ability to create and respond to change. It's to be flexible, to allow for quicker iterations, and make software development much faster. Just think of an athlete dodging obstacles or a boxer or an MMA fighter adapting mid-match. They are going to make changes and adjust in order to adapt, and they don't follow a set of combinations that they practice. If they did, they'd probably just end up losing the match. And that's exactly what Agile should feel like. It's about staying flexible, reacting fast, and constantly improving. But most teams treat Agile like it's a rigid set of rules: daily stand-ups, sprint planning, Jira tickets, instead of the mindset that it's supposed to be. So what exactly is Agile? And Agile means that you're working in small and fast iterations instead of long planning cycles. That means that you're going to iterate very quickly. You're going to receive feedback from your stakeholders. And that brings me to my next point, which is that you get real feedback early and often instead of guessing what it is that users want. You want to constantly push releases and get that feedback cycle in order for you to iterate. Make sure that you're actually delivering on what it is that people are asking for. And my third point is that you continuously adapt instead of locking in to the rigid plans. Just remember this example when we were talking about fighters. They constantly adapt throughout the match and make sure that they're not winded or that they're adapting to the fighter style in order to win the match. And this is something that can apply to software engineering when you're constantly and continuously adapting to ensure that you're meeting the right requirements. And things change. Just look at when AI came out and a bunch of companies had to adapt. This is something that we're constantly doing. And this is the most important part. It's that Agile helps you figure out where you're wrong as early as possible. Think about it. If you're building the wrong feature, Agile tells you before you waste months coding it. So for example, if users don't like your UI, Agile lets you fix it before launch day. And also, if your assumptions are wrong, Agile forces you to adapt instead of doubling down on bad ideas. But here's the big problem, is that most teams aren't actually Agile. So now just imagine this, right? You're working at a startup, you've been grinding for months on the perfect product launch. Then launch day comes and users just hate it. And why? Because you plan everything up front without real feedback. That's not Agile. That's waterfall disguised as Agile. And trust me, I've seen firsthand throughout my career where getting things wrong can cost millions and a ton of wasted time. So how do you actually do Agile right? And we're gonna break that down next. So before Agile, we built software like we built bridges. You plan everything up front and then you execute. And that's what waterfall is. And to be fair, many places still plan projects this way, and it usually follows the same 3 steps. The first step is that you write a huge spec document and you list out all the architecture and implementation details. Then you code for months, or years in this case, in isolation without any user feedback. And then finally, you release and you pray for the best. And the problem with this approach is that software is not like building a bridge. It's more like cooking. You need to taste and adjust as you go. That's where Agile comes in, but most teams still mess it up. In tech and finance, everything moves fast. I mean, literally fast. Market conditions change daily, compliance rules shift, AI comes out and disrupts the industry. And if your system breaks, millions of dollars can vanish in seconds. So when I first started, I saw teams using fake Agile. Long planning cycles disguised as sprints, and it just wasn't really working for us. But when we applied real Agile principles, we were able to, number 1, deploy weekly and sometimes daily. And 2, this led to getting instant feedback from our stakeholders. And 3, we were able to fix critical issues within hours and not months. I mean, this helped our iteration cycle dramatically. And this gave users the features that they actually wanted instead of those that we thought they wanted. And this is the big thing. It's that we think we know what the user wants, but that's maybe just not the case. Sometimes we over-engineer things without really knowing what it is that our customers want. So it's important to iterate quickly to provide the best possible value we can. And now I'm gonna get into a little story that relates to me. I've had some instances deploying features quickly only to realize that we introduced a bug. Our users quickly pointed out that There was an issue, and this allowed us to quickly roll back before it caused much larger issues in the system. But here's a mistake that 90% of teams make. Most people think that they're doing Agile, but they're actually just doing these three things. And tell me down below if this relates to you. The first is tons of meetings, just talking in meetings and not much iterating. 2 is Scrum Jail. You're just following rigid sprints and without really adapting to the user feedback. And 3 is just feature factory, just pumping out a bunch of code, and there's no real user feedback loop within this iteration cycle. So Agile isn't just about following process, it's about delivering value. If you're not adjusting based on the real feedback, you're not being Agile. You're just doing mini waterfalls, just top-down development and just pushing out features. So how do you apply Agile to your own work? And even if you're not a software engineer, just know that you can use Agile by following 3 simple steps. The first is that you break big goals into small and fast experiments. If you want to get fit, instead of a 6-month plan, how about you try tracking weekly progress and then adjust? If you notice that you're tired one week and you can't follow your workout routine, or maybe you get sick, then maybe just adjust your diet slightly to avoid over-consuming calories. And if you're feeling up for the challenge, then maybe stretch yourself a bit. It's totally okay to break the rules and adapt quickly. And this leads me to my second point, and that is to get real feedback quickly. So say you're learning to code. Don't wait 6 months before shipping. Just ship small projects and get feedback. The faster you push, the faster you'll identify where it is that you need to improve and the quicker that you're gonna learn. And finally, just iterate constantly and you're going to improve. Every week, just ask yourself these 3 questions. What worked, what didn't, and what's next? So reflecting often is extremely important and it allows you to constantly improve and learn from your mistakes. So say for example, if you're working on a YouTube channel and a video flops like my last video did, then ask yourself, what went wrong? Was it a good topic? Did I deliver the right message? Learn from your mistakes and continually improve. So now, if you do this, you'll improve faster than 99% of people. All right, so here's the truth, okay? Agile isn't just a process, it's really a mindset. It's about adapting fast and delivering value continuously. So I'd love to hear how you're applying Agile to your software development projects and maybe your everyday life. Leave a comment down below and I'll catch you guys in the next one.